first guest. Woo! The red truck should be coming down right now. This episode here is called How Well Do You Know Your Co-Host? What's happening, family? You're listening to the Unfiltered Limin with BLT. Every week, we will reflect on our journey on trying to navigate between our parents' traditional culture versus American culture. Oh, gosh, boy. We are your hosts,
Bertide,
Lisa,
and of course, Terry. Oh, yeah? No one is talking. So let's get unfiltered. So Jill, welcome to Unfiltered Limin with BLT. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we have a special guest, Jillian Gibson. She's a human resource director and she's a badass. She is also my good cousin. We just go down good. I just want to welcome her to the show of Unfiltered Limin.
in so many ways.
Lots of ways. We'll talk about that later. That might be another show.
So Jill, welcome to Unfiltered Limin with BLT.
I'm Bertide. We're so happy to have you, Jill. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm Lisa. Welcome, welcome. We're excited to have you here with us.
Thank you, Lisa. I am thrilled to be here.
And I'm the raw Terry.
Oh, that's your cousin.
Listen, it's family. You're born into it, they're born into you. You know what I'm saying? You can't, that's the way that is, you know?
So, Jill, I understand that you were very excited to come on to the show. What were your thoughts when we asked you to come on to the show?
I am so excited to come onto this show for a number of reasons, but really the primary reasons is to have women entrepreneurship in its full glory. You ladies are out here, as they say, doing the damn thing and doing it your way. And I'm excited to be asked to be a part of it. And that's one of the key reasons that I am really excited to be here. And I'm thrilled to be your first guest, thrilled and honored. And I just want to thank you and continue much success, give you your props, for just even doing it, and telling you to just keep doing it one step at a time. It will grow, it will get bigger, but you've done the most important thing, you started. So that's what I would say to you. All three of you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much. That means a lot.
For each one of us to pull this all together, I have to say we have a great team, but I cannot stress enough, Lisa, how she puts together a piece of the puzzle together. I mean, when you hear the finished product, you're like, oh my God, she needs to be some professional, doing this for like big money, because she really outstanding job. And then we have Bertide, who comes up with a lot of the, okay, what about if we do this? Let's do this, the direction of the show. So, and of course, me.
Backing out.
And every single one of you brings it to the table. And that's what I'm saying,
Right.
Together we are stronger, right? We are here to lift each other up, right? We can do things independently, and that's great. But now, especially as women of color, that we learn that there's enough for everybody, and we need to lift each other up, right? We don't have to fight each other anymore. Them days are done, right? There's enough for everybody. So we need to lift each other up and fix each other's crown. And that's what I think this is about. And I'm just, like I said, uber excited for all three of you guys. And each one of you bring your talents to the table, and it's different. It never works when you all have the same talent.
Yeah.
Right.
But everybody in the group has the same talent. That usually does not work. That's why diversity is important. That's why you have to include other people that are different than you, that bring other skill sets to the table. Sometimes you may want to kill them some days, yes, but they bring something else to the table. And that's part of coming to the table with not just an appetite, but bringing something. It could be the salt shaker, and it could be the roast, but all of it makes the table. Right. So, just sometimes you gotta remember that as you guys forge forward and step by step, piece by piece.
And I think what you said is important because I'm not sure if Terry mentioned to you, this season for us is our season 2. So we're super excited. This season is going to be focused on, relationships and conversation. So I think the point you just made about lifting each other up is very important because it's based on relationships among women, especially, women, like you said, of diversity, of color, of different backgrounds. So I think it's very, you'd like to basically touch on one of the conversation that we're going to continue to have in this season is to talk about those relationships. So, good point.
So, Jill, let me just ask you this question. You did talk about our diversity. What exactly? Tell us about you and what you bring.
Well, I'm a trained HR professional. I have kind of a quirky background, but I'm in the field. I've been doing it over 10 years. I have bachelor's in political science. I have a master's in business, which is kind of quirky. And I have a number of different certifications in HR type of training. And HR folks run the gamut. A lot of them come from psychology backgrounds, business backgrounds. They could do, all of that. One of the things I did a couple of years ago is spent a year in coach training. And spending that whole year in coach training was like being in therapy for a year. And really getting to understand yourself so that you really could, if you don't understand you, it's hard to understand others.
Say that one more time. Say that one more time.
If you don't understand you, it is hard to understand others. Right?
Okay, wait a minute. I want you, wait a minute. Hold that thought there for a minute. Because that line right there, I want to expound on it. It goes back to something that B always says, you have to be honest in your truth. And a lot of times people are not honest in their truth. So that goes to also speaks to the understanding yourself. And if you're honest about who you are and what you're about, then everything else is easy. So,
and I think the conversation is not only honest, it's really to be aware and really a deep awareness, because we all have, I call it the surface awareness, because everybody's read a book, everybody has, gotten a couple of affirmations, everybody's gone to a seminar, and that's great. And that's really just like turning page 1 and 2. But to really know yourself is a humbling experience. Because you really find out you might not be as nice as you thought you were, or as open-minded or progressive, and all these great things that not necessarily we give ourselves accolades for, but others have, confirmed within us, right? And when you really dig deep and find out that we're not that all the time. Yes, do we have traces of that? Yes, but that's not our true being. And you really get self-aware. That was an awakening experience, for me, respectfully. So
now, doing that work, let me ask you this: does it also help you better be sympathetic and empathetic towards others because you've done that work in yourself?
It helps you to be aware of other people and who they are, so you don't bring it on you, because we tend to make things about us and personalize it. Right. So you learn where to leave people, love them, but leave them where they are, and hold space for them in that love, but be able to walk away from them.
Say that one more time, please, because I think somebody needs to hear this. I really do believe that.
To hold the space for them, to love them, but to be able to leave them and walk away from them, because it's not about you. It has nothing to do with you. So, but you don't have to judge them, to be mad at them, to be a victim, because sometimes that's what happens. I have to watch and be mindful of me being a victim, right? Because I could go into victim mode in a minute, and we all go into victim mode.
Oh yeah,
because we're saying, oh, what Terry did to me, Terry did nothing to me. Right? I took Terry's aura. I took on Terry's energy. Terry didn't do anything to me. We can run the gamut with it. So when you become, really self-aware and really, to your point, know your stuff, see that stuff coming and say, ooh, I see that stuff coming, and be able to stop, assess that stuff, and sometimes leave it alone, embrace it, acknowledge it is number one. Because when you don't acknowledge it, it just seeps and builds up in you, and it's going to show up eventually. Might not show up year one, might not show up year two, but something's always a trigger that you get it. Somebody shows up to trigger that, and then it just blows up because you never acknowledged it. What happened, what didn't happen, what should have been said. And then it's like.
Now, can you tie that in, what you just said, with being like in all cultures? So tie what you just explained from our culture's perspective, because I think.
So for us, we as Caribbean people, as West Indian, I am first generation. And when it comes to our parents, mother or father, there's a certain line that we've been trained, like not to cross, don't say, sometimes our parents don't have boundaries, right? We don't give them boundaries because we are trained that says it's my mother, so therefore she's right, even though it's like, there are boundaries that need to happen. But culturally, we are trained. Culturally, we are trained that we move those boundaries, and sometimes those boundaries are that cause us harm. Because we're trained that way. We feel that we feel and believe, because of our culture, and it's instinctive to us, that we are doing something wrong when we say, hey, you can't say that, or you can't do that. Mm-hmm. Right?
Mm-hmm. That's huge.
Right?
That's huge right there.
We believe that we are woman or man or grandmother or whoever's raised us, fed us. When times were down, they gave us the salt of the earth. They would clean the floor. They would listen. I can give you a laundry list of things that they have done and would do it again. But it does not give anyone liberty to cross those boundaries, because there are boundaries to every relationship.
That's huge right there. That is so huge. And that is, how do I want to say it? As we have gotten older, you guys have children, so now you could understand it's all about your delivery, right? Mm-hmm. It's all about sitting down and having the conversation with our parent. Mm-hmm. And one of the beautiful things that my brother did is he let my parents know, like, listen, I want you in my life, and we have to set boundaries, and I'm having a child, and this is what I would like to see done differently. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's huge.
Wow.
And I was blown away and super proud and of him to say that. And courage, that's another thing too, courage to even say that, because just like you said, it's set up like, how dare you don't say anything.
This person did everything for you.
Yeah,
that's how it's presented, right? That's how it's presented.
How dare you express yourself? Mm-hmm. You don't get to express yourself. Mm-hmm. It goes back to the saying, "Kids are seen and not heard." Right?
Mm-hmm. And it's also the thing they said, you don't want to be disrespectful to your elders. That's another thing too. Right.
And it's not disrespect, right? Mm-hmm. So we get we put that word in there because we've just been trained that way, right? We've been trained.
I'll say this, it becomes disrespect because they themselves, for their upbringing, might have bottled up a lot of things. So therefore, their delivery to us, and then we know as children that we're not supposed to speak back or express ourselves. So it's bottled up. And then when we get to the point that our back is against the wall and we are so frustrated, past frustration, past anger, past everything, then when we say something to them, it does come off rude. And I say that because I'm guilty of it.
Yeah, I am.
I've let it go so far that I don't know how to use my words to express myself correctly to get my point across, because it's always been ingrained, like, how dare you? You don't speak back. You don't tell me how you feel.
Can I just ask this one question of all you ladies? Even if you don't let it get that far and you do have the conversation of the boundaries, what happens when the parent or the elder doesn't want to hear you or they shut you down, then what happens then? Because you're not getting your point across, because you're not being heard. So what happens there?
It becomes a vicious cycle.
It does, but the other part too, I think, like Jillian said, is how you react to it, right? Because you can't change, and I think we've talked about this, we can't change our parents' mindset and thinking. Correct. All you could do is, like you say, you know yourself and you know you set these boundaries. And I'll use this example with my mother, is the fact, like, when I was married, she didn't like my ex-husband or whatever, and I'm putting all this on blast. And then when I got divorced, like, it was all good, and she was trying to, like, tell me, you know, different things. And I had to be like, one thing we're not going to do is, if you want to have a relationship with me, we're not going to do X, Y, Z. And because, again, she's been this way her whole life. So me saying it a couple of times, I know it's not going to change. So my thing is, when she does try to go over it, all I do is say, Mother, I love you. I'm not doing this. Have a good day. When you're ready, you know what my boundaries are. We're not going to do this. I hang up the phone. I move on. It takes her a couple of weeks to call me. I'm good with that, because guess what? When she calls me again, she knows, hey, I can't do that to her, right? We can have a conversation to how we move forward, but we're not going to do that. And I think, in a way, she may not say it, but in a way, she respects my boundaries, right? So she may still do it and try to go over it, but again, she knows, like, if I just let it go, she's going to keep doing it, right? It's like kids. When you just give them the boundaries, they're going to push it, right? But if you're like, oh, wait a minute, no, that's the boundaries, you can't go over it, blah, 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 and you're consistent, it becomes easier for them to realize, oh, okay, my bad, I'm not going to try to go over it because she's serious.
It's behavior learned, right? There's some things we learn as it's behavior. We have to teach people how to treat us. Some people don't understand how to treat people. They just don't.
Say it one more time.
You have to teach people how to treat us.
Well,
right?
well.
Hey, we're preaching tonight. We need the collection plates to go around.
Sometimes you have to teach people how to treat you. Right? So in saying that, to your point, Bertie, is that you have to say, oh, this conversation, oh, we're not going here. You know what I mean? In a loving way. It doesn't have to be a knockdown, drag out, get me to the wall, because I know my mother. I come from a mother who is head of household, who is matriarch, right? And she had to be that way, right? She had to raise her brothers. You can't raise your brothers as a young woman and raise a family and become head of a household by the age of 13. You can't be weak. You can't be weak. You can't be weak. You can't be floundering. You can't. Right?
And you can express yourself and know yourself.
Right. You got to be a drive-in, knockdown. That's who you had to be. You had two brothers to raise.
Wow.
Period. Your mother died. You had two brothers to raise. You were, excuse my French, ass out. Boom. Handle it.
That's deep.
Right? So that's what you come from. So I get it. But now full circle, right, that you didn't have to do that anymore. So some of the things should have gotten dropped off, but it didn't. Right? So we're going to have to teach you some new behaviors, and they're not going to stick today. They're not going to stick tomorrow. But to your point, Bertine, there's some conversations that are off the table, or they're on the table to a point. Right? When you teach people how to treat you, it is holding people accountable for the conversations you will or will not have. And then if all else fails, sometimes you got to say, I'm going to lead you to Jesus. Because if I take you on anymore, we're going to have problems.
I'm going to hold you accountable to that statement.
All right, then.
Oh, okay. Well, go on.
All right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sometimes some people you got to say, I'm going to lead you to Jesus. You can't go, you know what I mean? That's not the first, you know what I mean? And then sometimes then you end up coming back, but you can't, because it's at your demise.
Yes.
Right? It's at your demise. So you and always self comes first.
Right.
Self comes first. And I'm not saying it in a selfish way, but you have to be good in order to be good for everybody else, right? To be of service, right? You have to be good. You can't be of service and be all broken up and broken down.
No, but you know what, too? That's actually a learned behavior for some people.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
some people do it well. They do it well off the break. You know, no, you can't play with my toys. This is mine. Give me. They start young and they know. But then, yeah, there's others that it's, you know.
Because it's based off your experience, right? You have experiences. You know, you ladies have gone through life. You've had relationships, good, bad. You've had marriages. You have, you know, and you walk away and you take away certain experiences from that, right? The good and the bad. You say, I'm going to leave this here and I'm going to take that. You know, it's an inventory, man. You take stock in inventory. And I think it happens most when you hit certain ages in your life or certain events happen, I think is when most people, right? You know, really take stock in inventory. And I think this 2020, with the pandemic, I think many people across cultural, you know, especially people of color, have had to take stock in their lives.
Very
right?
true.
In their lives, in their personal lives, in their communities, in their families, because many things have happened at many different levels. So I think this is the year of the reckoning for many people.
You're so right about that.
I like that.
You are so right. Because I mean, and maybe you could answer this. Do you also find that, okay, there's stock to be taken, right, of your inventory, but sometimes people fudge the inventory to make it look good?
Well, because I don't know if it's fudging inventory or you just don't want to look at your inventory. Because like I said, when I went back and I did that year long of coaching, some things, and I consider myself a pretty decent human being, I realized when my coach said to me, take a look, I did not want to look. I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. You know,
Were you afraid to look or were you ashamed to look? What was the reason why you didn't want to look? Okay.
I think I was afraid and I was ashamed.
Gotcha.
Scared.
Yeah, scared. So I took that to your point, that kind of, I took a look, you know, that fraudulent look.
But were you those emotions because you knew there was something? Because normally you have emotion based on, you know, something is there, right?
Well, you said, I took a look and you kind of said, I know something might be there, but listen, I'm a decent human being. I'm a good person, professional. You know what I mean? I gave myself my own accolades. You know what I mean? I'm a professional. I didn't kill nobody. You know, I donate charity. You know, I love children.
Well, not physically.
You know, I mean, I gave myself all my, you know what I mean? You know, all the things to say I'm not the worst person out here. You know, I've done some things that maybe I'm not too proud of. Okay, I've acknowledged that. I said I'm sorries. You know, but then you say, you know, have I cleaned up that relationship like I should have? Right? Or did I graze over it? Right? You know, have I really apologized and really forgave?
Right.
You know what I mean? Oh, did I surface kind of told Lisa I was sorry, but, you know, I really wasn't sorry. And things went bad. And, you know, this part of it I really didn't say. And, you know, this, that, and the other. So, you know.
So Jill, let me ask you a question since we're going through a series of questions here. What are some things or pointers that are advice that you can give to people right now since you did touch upon the COVID aspect of it and the time of reckoning. What kind of advice can you give to the good listeners getting back out into the workforce and getting back out to some kind of quasi-normalcy?
I would say for anyone as we go into 2021, because, you know, some of this is going to trickle into 2021 at some level. I don't know at what level, but it will continue on. Great opportunity to take inventory of either where you are or where you want to be. Why I say that is that because of all these new platforms and increased platforms, you know, whether it be Microsoft Teams, whether it be the Zoom, whether it be every platform that's really out there, there is a lot of free learning that people can do or experience, and people should take advantage of that, right? Things that you quasi say I have an interest in, a lot of it these days are free and available for you to really start looking at if that's what you want to do to get into the next part of your life, or say, that old job, I really didn't like that. I want to do something else. Be able to look and do something else. It's readily available. And click to start that, and the magic word, it's free or of little expense, at least to get the initial, to see if this is something I really want to do, look at, follow some people, look at some speakers, people who are interested in the field that you think you want to go into. And those are the things you could do on the short list. Rome wasn't built in a day or created in one day. So, but this is an opportunity to take some time out and be able to do that in this space that's economically a good time because it's free. In most platforms.
Speaking of platforms, also, I understand that you are part of a TEDx group. That's what it's called, correct?
Right. So I work.
How does that work? Can you tell us a little bit about that and how that works?
Sure. So everybody's heard of the Big TED. So the Big TED is the Big TED. It's like the big global organization. And what TED did is, in order to bring TED to local communities, they call it TEDx. So what you do is apply for a license. So anyone can apply for a license, and there's a process that you go through to apply for a license for your community or what you want to do. So a friend of mine invited me to be part of her team. And what it is that you have the talk based on the topics that you'd like to see happening in your community. It could be community-based or just a general topic of interest. A couple of weeks ago, TED did they focused on women. So a lot of the TEDx smaller communities did women, and fearless, one of the themes that they had, that different communities presented women and the fearless topics in many different ways, right? Because, fearless means a lot of things and has various definitions depending on who you talk to. It means something different based on her experience. So we did that in November to support the major TED organization. But you find a lot of people do enjoy it. It's free. So I always tell people to go to TED and just look up anything topic you are interested in hearing about, a 15-minute snippet or 10-minute snippet. And it has a lot of interesting conversation, from financial to emotional, spiritual, information about time management, information about the moon, about the solar system. TED covers everything known on Earth. TED covers.
Oh, wow. And what part do you play?
I do production. So the day of the show, I do the background and the productions and with the speakers. So once we go through and the speakers send in the topics. We work as a group to pick the speakers, because you get speakers from all over. So you pick the speakers, and the day of TEDx talk, I work background stage and handle it with the productions.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah,
that is pretty cool. Now, can you tell us a little bit? And I think maybe we kind of skipped over. So, how did you get into resources and your background as being first Caribbean generation? Like, how does that tie into how you got to there? If you could.
So the human resources part is funny. In the respect is that I got into human resources because I was a manager who was working in an organization, and they were doing a layoff, right? And I received, this is going back some years. So when you receive the list from HR, right, and the list says these 10 people, and back in the days, they used to give you slips to go to unemployment. Right, I'm dating myself now. So when you lay off the person, the person will be, hi Johnny, I'm, sorry you're being laid off, and and here's your slip to take to unemployment. In the place that I was working was a union shop, and in a union shop, most layoffs are done based on data hire seniority date. So what happens is that at the time, the HR person, the HR department, is their responsibility to check everybody's date, right? And it's data hire. And if you and Terry came in on the same day, it then is a matter of who filled out the application first. Let's say you both are hired on the same day. It gets that detailed, right? Because it gets that, but it's the human resources person's responsibility to get that right. right? That's his or her responsibility to check all that, make sure all is good. So I, as the frontline manager, is delivering the bad news, but all the other information and integrity of the information is correct. Right? I'm not doing that part because I'm delivering the news, right? I'm the front line. I'm the face that's got to tell you this bad news. Right? So I need to make sure that I'm doing this and everything is 100%. So what happened, we're doing this layoff, and this young gentleman came to me and says, Ms. Gibson, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I don't think I should be laid off, right? So meanwhile, I'm saying to myself, I'm praying on my internal voices like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This is the first time I ever laid anybody off. That's number one. As a manager, and I feel terrible for the guy. This guy has 3 kids, the whole 9 yards. And he says, I was here before. Let's say Terry says I was here before Bertide. So I'm looking at like bad word, because I have no idea. I'm going by this piece of paper that was filtered to me, right? And banking, that's 100%. So I said, okay, have a seat outside. This is the information I got, try to make it as nice as I can. And he's pleasant enough, but he's like, well, I ain't going nowhere. I'm going to sit out there because you guys got to get this right. So I'm saying to myself, oh Lord, I'm going to die here today.
Wait in the parking lot.
So he's waiting inside. So I don't want to call security. I don't want to take it up 25 notches because I don't know if he's right. So I don't want to escalate it up. And I want to be clear. I do not know what I'm doing. So I want to be clear. I am not, this is my first time in this rodeo. So I get on the phone. I call down to the human resources. I said, hello, I have, so-and-so. I told him, he says he was here before, She says, well, let me check. I don't think so. I said, please check because I haven't sitting in the lobby and
She's about to go postal.
Right. I said, I'm a little concerned, but I want to make sure I don't want to escalate this. You know what I mean? So she said, okay, I'll call you back. So she calls me back. She said, oh, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. Oh. I said, what?
Oh.
I said, what?
See, you can't be.
I said, so I said, bad word. Hung up the phone and went outside, got the gentleman, apologized, sent him home on his way, tell him I'll see him tomorrow, and then had to go back and now do the other person. And basically that's how I got into HR, because of a bad HR person.
Wow. Okay. That's nuts. I know that was an emotional roller coaster. Oh my gosh. You probably slept good that night.
I was a mess. I was a mess because I did not know what I was doing. I would be clear. It's the first time I've ever laid anybody, you know what I mean? First time. First time.
That's not a great feeling. I mean, I'm not in HR, and I know Terry's familiar with this. I think B was gone already, but when I had to lay off Shannon, my drive home, I was a mess. Oh,
wow.
And it was crazy. Yeah. Well, the thing is, they had tried to do it before, and I basically went back and battled. Like, listen, we got to find a way. You can't let her go. How about we? I went to the front desk, like, you know what? Let's split her hours. Then, split her hours in another department so that it takes some off on the sales side. Just find a solution. And then to find out ultimately, like, what was it, like 2 months later, Terry? I think 2 or 3 months later. It's like, okay. Well, Lisa, I'm just telling you what's going down right now. Like, they didn't even leave it in my hands because, and when I found out, I left. I was a mess. And it's so funny because I call my dad because my dad was a VP of finance for the company for many years. I'm just going to say for a bank. And it's funny when I called him and I was so upset and I was crying on the phone. And you know what he said to me? He said, yeah, well, hun, just like how they did that to her, someone right now is making a decision for you.
Yeah.
I was like,
so sad.
So dumb. I'm about to crash into somebody. I was like, this is not what I wanted to hear right now. But it was true. You're right, Terry. He was right. It was not too long after that. It was like, all right.
Yeah. Without a doubt.
I was like, I bet. Yeah. So yeah, it's hard. It's whew.
Very
I was-
very hard.
I
Very,
couldn't
very
do
hard.
HR. I think I cry every day.
No, I mean that's one side of it. But I tell people, that's why I learned to do that. I tell you, with dignity and respect to people, and I believe if I didn't handle that with dignity and respect to that young man, that I really potentially could have gotten myself hurt. Right, because you're thinking this is an open space. This is not, you know what I mean? This is a young man that's probably in his late 20s. He's got 3 kids. I am giving him some news which is really unfair to him, and he's absolutely right. You know what I'm saying? So by me just taking the time and having the right tone, and you know what I mean, I kind of and I didn't escalate the situation higher than it needed to be. You know what I mean? I didn't tell him like go home and we'll talk about it. I tried to manage it the best that I could with the limited skills I have. Like I said, I did not have an abundance. And at that time, I was not an HR person. I was management. I was a manager in the department. So, the manager came and said, and I always said so. I said, when you're telling people that news, I am changing your life. And at that moment, it's for the worse.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
2 months later, 2 weeks later, it may be for the best, but at that moment, it feels like the worst. Because I've had people come back. I've had people call me and says, yo, thank you so much. Best thing that ever happened to me. You're the best person ever laid me. Yeah, because that moment was horrible, but they went on to do so many other things. But that
bigger
moment
and better things
was horrible. But because I spoke to them with dignity and respect, it didn't, it was horrible, but it was okay. You know what I mean? But that moment is horrible. Whoever you are, that moment, there's very few people that moment is like, peace out, great, thank you, smooches.
Yeah.
Very few people are like that.
Yeah.
That moment is just like, especially since you didn't plan for it. If you plan for it, is one thing, but if somebody comes to, even if you hate your job, the day somebody else pulls that trigger before you pull it, right? It's like, damn, you know what I mean? Even if next week you plan to pull the trigger, they got you a week before you plan for it to happen, right? So that's what happened.
And I think what was a little different for me being a department head is like I felt responsible for the people in my department.
Well, a good manager does have a level of responsibility for the team he or she leads, because that team is responsible for not only you, but for the organization to build and grow that organization. But if you think about it, and you are responsible, right, to get that growth and building out of each one of those people. So that's not you're correct. That's how you're supposed to feel. Right? That's how you're supposed to feel. Now, many leaders don't, but a good leader does. Right? Because if I'm doing that, you know what I mean?
Well, we all have our fingers to our mouth because we all know a leader put it on blast that they don't understand that. I'm going to keep it 101 unfiltered tonight because, look, the conversations we're having.
No, you know something?
If you're good.
Jill knows who the leader is.
Yeah, I know.
Jill knows. Okay, good. Talking about,
Yeah.
The shenanigans.
But if you think about it, if you think about it in that respect, that's why you're able to get what you get out of people.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. To some degree, I agree. Because at the same time, I feel like even if you're a leader, it goes back to your point of knowing yourself. So even if you do have leaders that are not what you think that they should be, or they just point blank don't know how to lead, you being a character person that you are, if you're a hard worker, because I think some leaders, they get a good team. And that's just my personal belief. I feel like where we were in our corporate world, our leader got a good team. And that reflected good on them, regardless of their managerial.
Oh, absolutely.
You understand what I mean?
No skills.
Exactly.
But they, as we say, they fell into shit. Excuse my French.
They fell.
They fell into shit. Right? They fell into shit. And if you fall into that, then some people will tell you, listen, you do whatever you want. If this team keeps me looking good, they fall into. They do nothing they're like, it just kind of worked out that way. I didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Right. And you will go some places, and that clearly has and does happen. Clearly and does happen. So that definitely happens in all. I mean, in for-profit companies and not-for-profit companies, definitely all over the spectrum. That does happen.
Yeah.
Sad.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, thank you.
Thank you. That information, Jill, did really, really, really good. Some of the stuff I didn't know. I mean, I was like, okay, I opened up. So, with that being said, I didn't get a chance to explain to you that this episode here is called How Well Do You Know Your Co-Host? So we had you on for a number of reasons, for the reasons of, the human resource and just letting the people know, people listening, our followers that are listening, about what's going on out there, what they need to look for, what they need to do, so on and so forth, being honest in your truth, and also the fun part. This is the bacchanal part, the bacchanal part,
Backing out. Time for the shots and the drinks. For this part.
In preparation, Jill, you have gotten a number of questions from each of us in which you will read off, and we would have to guess who that person is that you're reading about.
Can I just say one thing?
You sure can.
I'm just going to say the person who's speaking gave the most questions.
The bacchanal part, the bacchanal part, the bacchanal part.
Wasn't it supposed to be 5 questions?
It was supposed to be 5. See, that's your cousin. Why she don't listen, Jillian?
No, she don't.
Follow
That's why I said let me put it out here so that everybody understands. That I saw there was a trend with 2 people and one person. I said self.
Let me just say this in my truth, okay?
Okay.
I know I am extra. Yes, okay. I know that. That is something that I live up to. That is something who I am.
She lives up to.
Yes, I do. Yes, I'm extra. I'm extra, and it's for different reasons that I'm extra. However, there are times where on the back end of that, I'm real low key, and I'm like, okay,
okay,
yes, but yes. Other than that,
Jillian go, yeah, that was that.
Jill, don't do it.
All right, so let's get the game started.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, how well do you know your co-host? So find out exactly how well we know each other. And if not, we're going to learn something new today. So, all right, Jill, let's get the party started.
Okay. Question. Okay. Number 1. In a fight, which one of your co-hosts would push first, ask questions later, try talking their way out of it, or just walk away?
Oh, I'll answer that. I think number 1, A, they're going to push, then ask questions later, and then that's going to be the T and BLT. That's Terry.
Really?
That's what I think.
Oh, I put that you, Lisa, would push and ask question later, and Tara would talk her way out. And what's the other one? And what's the last one?
Walk away.
I would walk away.
And Bertine would walk away. Jill? Who was it?
No,
the person who asked the question. I don't know who asked the question.
I asked the question. There was not an answer. We had to put the answer, so I didn't put the answers.
There was not an answer.
Yeah, remember we had to
no answer.
So both of us think Lisa would punch first.
Wow. I clearly got these questions wrong, but okay.
Next question.
So, you think that I would talk my way out of it?
Me?
No, Bertie said that.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
You think she would punch first?
Yes.
Really?
No, I would talk the situation down. I wouldn't talk my way out of it. I'll talk it down first because I need to understand the whole thing. But no, I wouldn't.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I think talk your way out and talk your way down is the same thing.
Bertie, don't do
Go
it.
ahead.
Bertie, don't do it.
Are we ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay. Who or which one of your hosts, who would this be, had a sexual escapade in the ladies' room of a fancy restaurant?
Bertie.
Terry.
Terry.
Why gotta be me?
Terry.
That's not me. That's not me.
Wait. Well, why is it me?
Are we right? Don't say wait. Terry.
It's Terry.
Speak thy truth.
Terry.
It was.
Thank you. Next question. We knew that.
I can't believe it.
I thought that was rather easy, but who am I?
That was easy. I thought it was easy too.
That was real easy.
That was easy. She don't even know the rest of us.
And she gonna say me. Okay, next question. Oh, I see you, Terry.
Which of your co-hosts, what is their love language? I'm going to name 4 love languages, and you tell me which one of this describes your co-host. Physical touch would be whom? Quality time would be whom? Words of affirmation would be whom? And receiving gifts would be whom?
So I'm gonna say Lisa for words of affirmation, and then Terry, I would say.
Sorry.
Lisa, you damn it.
I'm torn with Terry because I could say gift and physical touch. We're going ahead. That's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it there.
Y'all got me wrong.
Go ahead, Lisa.
I think Terry is physical touch. I'm going to say acts of service.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Physical touch and acts of service, because actually acts of service can be physical touch.
Boom.
And she said that all right now.
Tickling.
B, I think B is quality time and words of affirmation.
I think B is words of affirmation and also physical touch.
The next question is, which one of your co-hosts does not like to meet new people?
I don't like to meet new people, so I would say myself.
Yeah, I agree.
It could be Lisa if I have to pick a person.
No. Lisa.
Really?
What, Terry?
I'd say it's Bertide.
Oh. You're wrong. It's me.
Oh, is it?
Really?
We knew it wasn't Terry.
Can somebody just put the bullseye off my back, please?
I'm going to go to the next question. Which one of your co-hosts kicked a stranger out of their vehicle and left them stranded on the side of the road in a snowstorm?
Lisa. Yes.
Lisa. Are we right?
Why y'all say me though?
That's not you?
Jill, who are we right?
Lisa. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Lisa, that sounds like you right there.
Oh, okay.
Lisa. Oh my gosh.
I mean, nobody's not even gonna ask the situation, but it's all right. We'll talk about it later.
All right. Which one of your co-hosts likes to talk in front of people, but really likes to be in the background and stay quiet and watch?
Terry.
Terry? Really? Terry?
What made you say that, B? Why me?
Because, yeah, you like to be up front and center, but then, like you said, there's another side of you that likes to be laid back too.
Yeah. Wow. Who you gonna say?
Depending on the way the moon is shining.
You know something.
And the tides are rising.
Contrary to me always, being the hype or the bacchanal, there are times where I just like to sit back and let other people get the shine and just watch, Yeah.
That's true.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
I will agree with that. I've seen that.
Amongst your co-hosts, do you know how many siblings they have and where do they fall into the grand scheme of their family tree?
Ooh, good question. That was a good one.
Whoa. Okay.
So Lisa's the oldest, and I know you have a brother, and you have a cousin that you consider your sister. I don't know if she's older or not.
She's younger. She's the youngest.
Oh, Terry, I know you have a sister. She's oldest. That part I'm not sure.
I think she's older.
But I don't know if you have any other.
She has more siblings.
Oh, see, I didn't know.
There's a brother somewhere.
That's my guess. So yeah.
I know Bertide has a sister. I want to say the sister is older than Bertide, and I think that's it. I don't think she has anything. And I know Lisa. I believe Russell is older than you. Yeah, I want to say that Russell is older than you.
Which one of us got it right, Lisa?
B got it right.
You're older than Russell?
Uh-huh.
I could have sworn Russell was older than you.
Now Lisa's turn.
So I know Terry definitely has a sister. I think her sister is older than her. I know you have a stepbrother or something, I think. B, I know you have a sister. Your sister's younger than you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Okay.
I think.
So I have a brother on my dad's side. He's oldest.
Okay. And you are what?
The middle.
On my dad, I'm the middle. With my mom, I'm the oldest.
Okay.
What about you, Terry? Do you got a stepbrother?
I'm the same thing. I have a half brother. I'm the same, just like he's the oldest from my father, and I'm the oldest from my mother.
Oh, okay.
You're the oldest?
You're the oldest. Wow. I don't
know why I thought your sister was oldest. Oh, wow, Lisa. We got it wrong on Terry.
I did. I think why I thought your sister was older. I don't know. I just thought that. Anyway.
Yeah. Next question. That's good.
How many drinks does it take to get your co-host tipsy?
Which one?
Pick one.
Lisa? Oh my God. Lisa can knock back a good. Let me see. I said, Lisa can knock back. Bertie, maybe half a glass.
Quarter. I'll give her a quarter. I give you a quarter.
They're trying to say you're a lightweight, Bertie. I'm trying to
They are correct. Ding, ding, ding.
Don't no bacchanal here.
No. So with Lisa, if she's drinking hard liquor, maybe 5 or 6 drinks.
What? You're a real West Indian girl?
With Terry, I'll give her 3 drinks, maybe 3 or 4 drinks. How close do I come? Oh, go ahead, Lisa, before.
Yeah, definitely B is a quarter glass. I'm going to give her a quarter of a glass. Terry, I'm going to give her about, if it's hard liquor, I'm going to give her about a good 4.
Nah, I'm not a heavy drinker like that.
So how many drinks does it take, y'all?
For me, if I have one good, and it can't even be a full glass, wine. If I have one glass of wine, if I have 2, I'm singing like, yeah.
What about you, Lisa? See, y'all making fun of me. She had 1. So between me and Terry, we 1.5. But Lisa, go ahead, tell us, because Lisa's gonna shatter our record right there.
Lisa be knocking it back.
I mean, Lisa's holding it down for the Caribbean, boy.
Yeah.
It's very true. I started off young, just drinking it straight, so I can take at least 4 or 5 drinks.
Okay.
I'm gonna give myself about 4 or 5 drinks before I start to feel something.
Okay, all right.
Oh wow!
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
That's good.
So all the times that we've been on here drinking, it's like juice. I'm like, all right, what are we doing?
All right, next question.
Okay. Which one of your co-hosts, when people first meet them, they don't like them, but eventually they warm up to them?
I would say probably me.
I've definitely got that too. Maybe and Terry as well. All 3 of us.
Who's right, Jill?
Oh, you wrote the question, Miss King.
Ah.
I know I get that a lot.
Which one of us did when you meet us, you didn't like us?
Oh, neither. No, I like both because you was always giggling and laughing and stuff like. You entertain my foolishness, and Lisa, I just clicked with Lisa. Lisa was like, "We gonna get along real good," and I just liked Lisa, just liked her.
Aw, thanks, Terry.
Yeah, that's why I said she's the best boss. Best boss I have ever had. Ever.
Aw.
On so many levels.
Thank you. That's so sweet.
And she's always said that, Lisa.
Aw, thank you.
All right. Which one of your co-hosts had a mud bath in an active volcano?
Terry.
Bertie.
Why whatever you say, okay, it could be Terry or Lisa.
No, no. Matter of fact, that's Lisa.
Because Lisa travels a lot. So Lisa.
Yeah, it was me.
Oh. Why, Terry, you gotta say me?
I don't know. I figure, you were skinny dipping in the mud bath. What the hell? I don't know.
Lisa, you gotta tell us about that later.
I will.
Okay. Which one of the co-hosts is very organized, but life is always in a whirlwind?
Terry.
Oh, shit.
Very organized, but life. Yeah, it could be Terry. Yeah.
It could be, or
It's Terry. It's Terry.
Lisa.
It's Terry. It's Terry.
I swear I can't stand y'all right now.
Okay.
I swear I can't stand y'all right now.
Okay. Which one of your co-hosts loves love, but has never really experienced it in its entirety?
Ooh, Bertie?
Oh, somebody in trouble.
Why that gotta be me?
No, I'm asking. No, I'm saying, but I think it's Bertie.
Yeah, I would say Bertie too.
Wow. I would say.
Mm-hmm. You would say who?
I would say Terry.
Why would you say
No. I don't think so.
Really?
Anyway, who's the right person?
Speak up. Who
I
wrote
don't
that
know.
question? It was?
It was me.
It was Terry.
Really?
It was Terry.
You'd be giving them bacchanal.
That's bacchanal.
They didn't even get a chance to sit in good.
Okay.
Oh, damn it.
Okay. In a crisis, which one of your co-hosts will stay calm? Which one will freak out? And which one will drop everything and come get you?
I say Lisa would drop everything.
Come and get you.
Oh my God, that's so sweet of y'all.
I think Terry would freak out.
No, I think Terry, from my experience from work, I think when it's a crisis, Terry's very good with, all right, what's the problem? Let's get to the solution and let's resolve it. Let's get to the bottom. Stay calm. And then later be like, what the
Freak out on the back end.
Yes. Sometimes I have an internal freak out. Yes, you won't see it, but I freak out internally, and I do what I need to do to pull through. But yes, there's a freak out internally. Sometimes when I'm by myself, I'm like, oh shit, oh Lord, yeah. But I don't let people see me sweat though.
No. Terry's gonna be like, let's get to the solution. Let's fix it. Let's get it done.
That's
it's
good.
funny because I'm like that too. Like, all right, well, the solution. Let's just focus on the solution. And when it's all done, you can sit back with your cognac and be like, can you believe?
Yes.
Well,
Oh my goodness. Which one do you guys think I would do?
I think you would be like, let's get to the solution. Let's work on the solution too. And you know what? That could be also too, because we're all hospitality based and we're dealing with crises on a regular basis. So it becomes to us like, oh, there's poop coming out of your shower. Nah, no big deal. We'll just go ahead and get this. We already know what to do.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. The line of work you in sometimes, drives that stay calm and handle, and then freak out later. It's like, I'll freak out later, but I can't freak out right now. I have to freak out a little bit later.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're in solution mode.
Yes. Which one of your hosts went to band camp?
Terry.
Lisa.
Band camp?
Yes, band camp. Like when you play in a band and you play an instrument?
I know, yeah.
You're going to say you never heard of that?
I have. I'm trying to think. It could be either one of y'all guys.
I think I know it's Lisa. I know Lisa played some kind of instrument where she was jamming because Lisa liked the, like the.
So is it you, Lisa?
Yeah, it was me.
Oh.
The saxophone.
That's why her lips be perky like that. That's why.
Which one of your co-hosts is patient with others but lack patience with thyself?
Terry.
Lisa.
I feel like that's me. But it's not me.
Yeah, Lisa. Okay, so
it's me, but it's not me.
What you mean it's me, but it's not you? What does that mean?
What did she say? It's me, but it's not me.
Okay.
All right. All right.
Is that it for the questions?
No, I got a couple more.
Where's the answer? Who got the answer? Who was that?
I think it was
Drum roll, please. That was you. That wasn't you. That was Terry.
Terry. Should have known 5,000 questions.
Yeah. Okay, so here's which one of your hosts took part in the same sports as Florence Griffith Joyner and Jackie Joyner?
Lisa. That was Lisa.
That was Lisa.
That was Lisa. Yes.
Hey, all right. That was too easy.
Track legs.
Yeah. Well, you used to say you used to run.
Yep.
I did? Oh, shoot. I thought I didn't mention it.
Nah, you did. You did.
Okay.
Well, there was no famous hurdlers that Joe would have known, so I would have said that. Y'all would have been lost.
All right. So which one of your co-hosts are slow to start, a bit of a procrastinator, but comes through like an anchor in the end?
Terry.
Terry.
Not myself, but Terry, yeah. I would say Terry and myself. That's funny. I would say that about myself too.
No, I wouldn't say that about you.
You don't think so?
No.
Oh.
Maybe the last part, it coming through, but no, you're not slow to start. I wouldn't say that.
Well, thank you. Maybe in my mind.
We all have our days, right?
Which one of your co-hosts can hear and see what people do not say most of the time?
Lisa.
Bertie.
Terry. I think Batiste. I want to say Terry because she had 5,000 questions, but you know.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Who was it?
The question girl.
Terry.
You really busted me up. Supposed to read. I guess when I was typing it, I typed it like how it came out of my head. But basically, if you're talking to me, I can see past what you're saying. That's what I'm saying.
No,
okay.
I can see past what you're saying. So I'll be able to say, something is more to the story, or I know that. That's what I'm talking about. I could see past that. So.
Which one of your co-hosts knows a lot of people, but always keep to themselves?
Lisa.
Bertide.
What was the question?
Know a lot of people, but always keeps to themselves.
Bertide.
Why y'all say that's me?
Because you keep to yourself.
Yeah.
Ma'am.
All right, guilty. Go ahead.
And that's the last question, ma'am, ladies. I hope that this allowed you to learn, get a better insight, a little more of an insight about each other.
Well, thank you, Jillian.
Oh, you're welcome. I don't know if you guys realize it, that in a lot of your answers, you guys have a lot of similarities. From how you talked about, your co-host, how you said each other. So it was just interesting that from the questions that you do have a lot of similarities.
But something, though, Jill, it's just so funny that you should say that, because we do have a lot of, there's a kind of a flow that we have between us that I brought to Lisa and Bertie's attention. Like, for instance, like the BLT, everything goes in order. So for us, it's always an order thing that works together. The B is the first, the L is the second, the T, and look at how it goes in order of like the alphabet. Right? And then numbers for our birthday. The BLT, like Bertie is 18, Lisa is 21, I'm 30. So 1, 2, 3. You see what I'm saying? When I brought that to their attention, they were like, oh my gosh, wow, yeah. So those are just little things, everything kind of just flows for us.
Yeah, like I said, and from your answers, and even see from you all have a series of three siblings as such, right? You all have a lot of similarities.
It's funny you say that, because part of, I guess, defining our podcasts, we do say, as much as we think we're different, we're very similar. When we were writing, our podcast
mission statement,
yeah. And that definitely comes through in these questions as you guys are answering them. I had to laugh because the way you say that's, how sometimes you say that's Lisa and that's Terry, or that's Bertie and that's Terry, you know what I mean? Very few things you was just one person. You all said that was so-and-so. A lot of things, it could have been two. It was always, could be two of you guys. So I thought that was interesting.
Except kicking somebody out their car. Everybody just...
Well, everybody has a oneness. Like
the skinny dipping, was it the mud bath? What was that?
Yeah.
No one said anything about skinny dipping.
Sorry, dude, I'm sorry.
I actually removed that question off the list.
Some people were doing some things in restaurants, singling it out. Some people,
bathrooms.
You know what I mean? I didn't say, some people kicking people out the car, individual. So you have individual things that make you clearly stand out as individuals. So there's some things that you clearly stand out as individuals. There's no getting it confused or, as Terry would say, twisted. It's clear that there are things that stand you out as who you are. You know what I'm saying? But you do have some similarities that I think that works to your point, to your flow.
Well, perfect.
Well, thank you so much, Jillian. This was really good to meet you and have you.
Thank you, Jillian.
Thank you for having me. I so appreciate it. This is my first podcast I ever did. I'm so excited. Yay! Yeah, I've never done one. So, I'm very excited. So
we would love to have you back one day.
I would love to come back one day at any time, and I totally enjoyed it. I'm sure you guys could have much, much more success and continue on. And, remember when you finish Blow Up, remember.
Yes.
You are our first guest. So
that's right.
Very first guest.
If you're on this journey, just remember that.
All right, ladies. So we are definitely going to wrap this up. All right, ladies. Yes, we are out. All right, people, the Bacchanal Queens, we are ready to leave. But before we leave, we would like to thank you for joining us this week on Unfiltered Limin with BLT. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and join our Facebook page. As always, subscribe to the show to catch every new episode and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh, exciting content. See you next Thursday, same time, same station. Unfiltered Limin with BLT is edited and produced by Unfiltered Limin with BLT.